This conference will now be recorded.
And obviously pay my respects to their elders past and present and emerging. Barry, obviously we're in very different times to what we normally would do this. Obviously we'd be talking to everyone in face-to-face, but obviously I know you said you wanted me to speak about obviously the council's response to the COVID-19 situation. Obviously, you also asked me to say what was my desires for the city and so on. I'd obviously just start off by saying that, as you probably read from my bio, I have been a banker in the past for more than 30 years, and until the bank decided I was in the wrong age group, and then decided to pay me out and say don't come Monday. And since about 2001, I've run my own small business, and so my background is very much about a banking and a business background. So obviously, I haven't quite been on council totally since 1995. I was on from 1995 to 1999, and then saw the light of day and decided to raise a family and do something better in my younger age group. But I didn't come back until 2012. But obviously in the first term of 95 to 99, I was a Deputy Lord Mayor, and having come back in 2012, I was in the Caroline Chisholm Ward until 2017, but the government then decided it was a good idea to restructure the council and to merge it and sort everything out. So I'm now in the North Rocks Ward, which is the new one. Basically, it's the old Caroline Chisholm Ward renamed, but it's the North Rocks Ward, which covers Winston Hills, Carlingford, and North Rocks. Having said all that, obviously my desire, having been a business and banking background, is obviously to make sure or to encourage things that happen that will allow people to make some money, that people are in business, because without business we can't employ anybody. So obviously most of my desires are about trying to keep business afloat, trying to encourage, particularly in those little neighbourhood centres who need some help to make some money. So I obviously try to do some things with that. Obviously on the main front of in the city, everybody is involved with that, but that's for the, by and large, sometimes for the big end of town. But we still have a lot of retail people there trying to make money in restaurants and a whole range of things. So they're the ones that are pretty much suffering at the moment, trying to adjust their lives from running restaurants to kind of convert them to takeaway for the time being. So my other desire is I've been a president of the Winston Hills Soccer Club in the past. I've been a club coach. So my other desire about being on council is about supporting everybody particularly in my ward, in North Rocks Ward, and in getting all the football fields in shape, getting all the parklands in an attractive way.
Shut the dog up.
Getting the trees along the streets to make the streets look like avenues of trees and make it look more attractive, and generally make people satisfied and happy that they live in the city of Parramatta. So that's about what I'm on there for. And obviously, at the end of the day, I'm just another resident like you guys, you people, and I'm here to obviously, hopefully, represent the people in what they want done in Parramatta. We're now, obviously, things went a bit awry in the last couple of months, as you know, where we've now got this coronavirus has arrived. And on the 8th of April, the City of Parramatta Council, we decided to introduce a $3 million relief package to help support the local businesses, the jobs, the community groups, the local services, our community, and also council staff. The relief package is one of the most comprehensive in New South Wales, and it's being rolled out over the next 3 months. Our measures will help keep people in jobs, and help keep our businesses trading, hopefully. And there'll be more to come as time moves on. But Parramatta's businesses are generally incredibly resilient, but they're taking a big hit right now, as everybody knows. Two well-known players, the Park Royal Hotel, Alex & Co, and more recently Mamas and Papas, have closed down. And I think you might know that Granites have run into financial difficulties and also have also closed down. So most of the businesses on Church Street in the heart of the CBD are hanging in there. Less than a third have shut down, and most of the cafes and restaurants are adapting to the current circumstances. They're offering takeaways. But as they've all told me, they can only survive so long on selling takeaway coffees and cakes and the like. So we're doing everything we can to support the businesses. As part of the $3 million package, particularly for business, we're offering grants of up to $2,000, which will total about $100,000, to try and help businesses convert their existing operations from restaurants to takeaway, or however they want to convert them. So that's putting that money out there to try and help them convert in the short term. We're relaxing trading conditions so that businesses can offer takeaway services where maybe their license didn't allow. And we're obviously on council through our websites and through other platforms like Facebook and whatever, trying to promote the services of these businesses in Parramatta. We've also eased some parking restrictions, obviously to help people pick up food at the local restaurants and the medicines from chemists, for example. We've increased the number of short-term parking spots, and we've also provided grace periods and cautions for on-street parking, which might satisfy the people, but at the same time it reduces council's income. Council's also been hard hit in the early stages with we've now got to look at these frontline services such as childcare, cleansing and garbage collection. Council runs 5 childcare centres. I think Cumberland Council, which is the old Holroyd Council, they run 12, I think. And as you can imagine, as they're not part of the JobKeeper program, they don't get this money from the federal government. So we have to obviously try to sort of make some approaches to the state and the federal government to try and make up for the lost revenue the council's going to incur over the next few months. So we're obviously trying to get our economy to bounce back as quickly as possible, as you can sort of imagine. So just sort of things that we're doing, as I said before, is the business grants. We're doing relaxing the conditions on takeaway business. We've got the on-street parking, which we're helping out. We've also waived prepaid and ongoing license and hire fees for outdoor dining, which doesn't exist at the moment, and food stalls, temporary premises, advertising, community halls, parks and community venues, which when we give this money away, of course, it's fine to support these people, but as you can sort of gather, the revenue for council over the next few months is obviously going to be hard hit. We've also tried some initiatives, obviously, to encourage on our websites and through our software, social platforms to buy local. We're trying to get people to buy from local businesses. So we're obviously promoting those local businesses as much as possible. Council's also gone to 7-day payments rather than 30 days to try and get some of that working capital into some of these businesses. And we're also trying to accelerate the planning proposals and the DAs that are coming through to try and get some of these activities out there as quickly as possible. I think you'd probably also gather that The universities in Parramatta are also copping a bit of a battering. Obviously, they've lost a lot of income through because the overseas students aren't here or have gone home or whatever. So the major ones, as you know, we've got UWS, we've got the University of New England, we've got Swinburne University, and we've also got Charles Sturt University. But at this time, obviously, we have focus as well on trying to support our staff, because obviously a lot of staff, some of the services we're providing, we've now stopped. And so these staff obviously are sitting on the sidelines at the moment, hopefully trying to get back as soon as possible. But we've also trying to have those council staff redirected to other areas of the council to try and help along as well. At the moment, we're paying our casual staff up to 4 weeks after the relevant services have been shut down. And we're obviously trying to relocate and reallocate those people to other jobs. We've also invested about $100,000 in hardware, in software and audio-visual technology so that we can continue running our meetings. Obviously, council now runs its, was a fortnightly council meeting, now gone to monthly meetings by online. So it's just a very difficult time to try and operate. The things that have also been affected for us, particularly, is the council's Meals on Wheels services. These have increased by more than 20% in the last month, and obviously now there's a lot of pressure on trying to get volunteers to move these out, because obviously the older people who normally handle these Meals on Wheels obviously are in the area that they might be affected. So obviously we're out there trying to look for new volunteers. The council has also tried to reach out obviously to the residents and say obviously in terms of the people who are really affected by loss of jobs and whatever, is that we'll implement obviously repayment plans on their rates to try and take it easy for them for a while. And obviously, previously we would impose interest on the late payments, but obviously that is now been waived. We've also waived rents for our council-owned assets, which are occupied by community groups, essential services, and not-for-profit organisations. We've also redirected unallocated funds from our community grants program to support local services and community groups. So obviously trying to find funds from wherever we can find them at the moment. And obviously in terms of trying to cut down the spread of this disease, obviously we've increased our cleaning services in high traffic public areas and the like. From a community point of view, council is running a range of programs to bring the community together while staying physically apart. One example that we're trying to do there is our library program, which offers some of its popular activities and resources online. And there's one called Story Time, where kids are able to watch and participate in story time sessions from home through online recordings and live streaming. The council staff have also been recording online workshops to keep people entertained, including craft sessions and series of reading aloud videos. I understand that the community choir group that normally meets in the Newington area as part of council's over 55s leisure and learning program now rehearses online using Zoom, and the participants are apparently quite satisfied that this is working well. And there's a couple of other things here, obviously, that we're obviously moving forward with is We've obviously done the increase in short-term parking spots, as I've explained. And obviously we're cutting down on the no stopping, anytime there's a no stopping, no parking, school or loading zone signs or whatever. And where there's danger to people, obviously people may still be incur a fine, but they're obviously doing as much as they can. Now, but having said all the bad news about, you know, what's been happening, obviously here at Parramatta, we obviously feel that we can make a good contribution to the state government's initiatives in trying to, at the recovery phase here, is that we have a lot of shovel-ready projects ready to go. And we feel that if state government maybe contributes a little bit more income to us, get some more grants and funds a few things, we can move along some of these things, which will increase employment opportunities and whatever. So as you probably know, we're building Parramatta Square, which is a magnificent commercial area where there's already a number of 3 or 4 buildings already constructed. And we've got another 2 buildings, called Parramatta 6 and 8, which are very, very large commercial buildings going up. And obviously when they come finished, obviously they're going to employ thousands of people in those buildings. You may know that council has, we no longer have a council chamber. It's obviously been knocked down a couple of years ago, and we're currently starting to rebuild that. The development application has been approved. That's going to start coming up. So that will be the new chamber, the new library area for us, and just be a fantastic area for people to gather and so on. But more importantly, we've got over 60 planning proposals that are in our pipeline that will enable construction to go ahead very quickly if we can get those approved. Those planning proposals, not only do they need to come through council, they then have to go to the state government for endorsement. And obviously, if the state government is too slow on those, then we can't get them back quickly enough to get all the things happening. So we'll be pushing the government to get some of those planning proposals moving forward. They'll be for large projects in the CBD. And obviously, we're trying to get things like the Parramatta pool that's ready to start to get moving at last. And it may not be finished till 2023, but at least that will give more employment opportunities to Parramatta. We're obviously pushing the government to push ahead with Metro West, which is a large train line that will come from Sydney through to Parramatta again, through the inner west area, and eventually come out through areas like Rydalmere and Camellia and those sort of areas. So we're hoping that the government will move those things forward quickly, creating more employment opportunities for us out in Parramatta. The Museum of Applied Arts, it's obviously gone up and down in the one spot for quite some time. We're hoping that might get the go ahead in the not too distant future, so we can get things happening. So it's not all bad news for as far as the western suburbs is concerned. Well, certainly for Parramatta anyway. It's because we're obviously trying to get a lot of these things happening and get our staff back employed, and hopefully employ a lot more people, and particularly through these major developments that are coming through to Parramatta. So it's not all bad news. It might look bad at the moment, but we're obviously remaining very positive in Parramatta that if we can get out of this situation in the not too distant future, and we can get all these things happening, we're looking very good for the future. I'm not sure that other areas might be as well off, but certainly for us, I'm feeling very confident that things will be much better in the not too distant future. So really, and obviously Bank West Stadium is a major economic boost for the city of Parramatta. We have so many things happen there, as you well know, whether it's the Eels playing there, or the Wanderers, or Now we've got the Bulldogs play there, and also Western Suburbs play there, and also the Rugby Union. But we've also had those major shows out there. We've had Elton John there, and people like that. So they're fantastic economic drivers for Parramatta. So we're really looking forward to getting the Bankwest back in action again, and all these things are going to be making most of the people in Parramatta feel a bit more encouraged, and a bit more feeling that things might come good. So really, that's a bit of a short summary of what we're doing in Parramatta, and we're working through our process. And I must say, I give great credit to our new CEO, Brett Newman, who's been with us since September. He's such a driving force, and he's got some very good executive staff with him, and also our general council staff are doing such a fantastic job, and my own fellow councillors are supporting all the initiatives that we're putting in place. So I'm very happy that they are doing that. So basically, as they're saying, we're all in this together, and hopefully we're all going to come out smiling in a not too distant future. So Barry, I think that's about it, but I'm more than happy to take some questions on more specific matters maybe.
Okay, well, thank you, Bob. I'll just put it to anyone in the club who wants to ask some questions.
I've got a question, Barry.
Yep, sure, shoot.
Welcome to Parramatta City Rotary Club, Lord Mayor Dwyer. It's John Suringen here. How are you?
John Suringen, lovely Harry. Good luck. Yeah. He comes to haunt you, like he doesn't put his face up, so he's got to come in from the back door. School days, and he's still really bloody.
Obviously, you know John well.
I want to play you an easy question. You could let go straight through to the keeper if you like, Bob.
I'll try.
The draft LEP that's been hanging around for a number of years. Is there any sort of secrets you could give us about that, Bob?
Yeah, the draft, it's called obviously for most people might call it the CBD planning proposal.
Yeah.
It's been clogged up in council for quite some time, but it was endorsed by the council in December, just a matter of months ago, and then we sent it off to the state government. Now it's down with the state government there sitting around, and until it comes back to us, then we can't put it out for exhibition to the general public generally to get their feedback before it can be formally endorsed and actually go into play. But only just last Friday, I signed a letter to go to the planning minister asking that as part of the COVID-19 recovery phase, that they take steps to fast track our CBD planning proposal and get it back to us as quickly as possible. So that's only just come on Friday. So I'm hoping that if they play the game in terms of the recovery phase, like they're trying to send out those signals, that's what they want to do. And hopefully the CBD planning proposal might be endorsed and up and moving this year.
I don't know what that background noise is.
But I'm not sure if I answered your question, but I'm just saying that things are looking more positive from that side if we can get the government to respond more, to respond quickly. So we've sent, as I said, we sent a letter to Minister Stokes last Friday saying, look, if you want us to help to get these things moving out here, then you've got to get this CBD planning proposal back to us, and so we can get it out for exhibition and endorsement.
I've got a question. The proposition is that this virus is going to reach a peak and then decline, and we'll all get back to business. But it's possible that the virus is with us forever, and that once we all get back to business and so on, it's going to have a resurgence, and this might take a lot longer than we're ever anticipating. I mean, George Bush is trying to will it, at least, what's his name? the president of the US is trying to to get the thing to shrug it all off. But Trumpy is trying to shrug it all off. But all governments are trying to shrug it all off. But it might be that this virus is a little bit like influenza. It's always going to be with us. Have you any plans for a longer term period of inactivity?
I didn't catch your name.
Malcolm Brown.
Oh, Malcolm. Sorry, Malcolm. Malcolm, look, I'm trying to be a bit more positive. I think what you say is could be very correct, but the longer we look ahead in that sort of things in mind, obviously, council having continual reduced income. If you continue to reduce the income, and the only way we're going to save money is to start putting staff off, and obviously that's something we just don't want to happen. So in trying to sort of think about how do we go forward, it could well be, you could be 100% correct. I'm thinking, look, I don't know if you've been out on the street just in the last couple of days or whatever. I went down to Bunnings down at Winston Hills the other day, only on the weekend. I thought it was at the Sydney Cricket Ground. There was more cars there than anything. I don't know about the social distancing, but people continue to go in and out of there. I went down to Northmead. I thought, that's too hard. I'll go to Northmead one. And the same thing was happening down there. So people seem to be happy to get out with or without protection or whatever and keep going. So whether or not we can just get back to some of what we're doing now, of course, the council, is half of our major executives are at home. Another section of them are back down at the office. So we're already continued to operate in a different sort of way. I just think that council will continue to operate as long as we can get our revenue back in, or we get some sort of funding from the governments to get us over the hump. But if it's for the longer term, then maybe we're going to have to adapt to what risks we're prepared to take with this, or whether, everyone seems to think it's only us oldies that get this and go down for the count, where the young people are okay. But I don't know where we're going to go if this doesn't go away, or we're going to have to sort of say we're going to have to work with all our faces masked and whatever. I don't know the 100% answer. All I know is that as a council, we're trying to adapt to what's happening. I think maybe at the end of this session, when we get over this, obviously we could be all working from home rather than going to the office all the time, I think. But I'm trying not to be too pessimistic, because I believe that, we're going to try to adapt as best we can, and maybe we'll lose a couple of people along the way. But I try to be positive about where the council's going anyway.
Well, thank you.
I'd have a quick question, Lord Mayor. My name's Chris Benneker. I'm the Assistant Governor. And you mentioned that there might be some services in your catchment that might be a little under-resourced, thinking of Meals on Wheels. Are there any services where Rotary could potentially fill in and help out?
Well, there certainly is, of course, because Meals on Wheels obviously will now require people of a younger age group to drive around and deliver these. And as I said, the Meals on Wheels numbers, the demand for the services have increased quite a lot, 25%, I think it is. So we're obviously looking for volunteers. Now, I'm not across all of the areas in which, just a minute, somebody do it. I just stopped that so it doesn't ring you. Hang on. Stop. I'm not across all of the services that need volunteers, but certainly that's one of them. But if I can certainly find out what other areas we're looking for volunteers, and I think we're putting it out on our website and things like that, trying to encourage people to contact council and whatever. But if anybody through Rotary wants to volunteer or whatever, they can contact me, and I'll certainly put them in contact with the people in council who need some support at the moment.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Lord Mayor, it's Barry. Possibly a way for volunteers to be looking at is when we do go back to either a phase 1 or phase 2 situation, a lot of these restaurants that will be opening up will probably have to have their customers scanned for temperature. Maybe that's something which would be a cost to them, but maybe that's something volunteers could do for a service to the business community, is to after some inductions, but be able to read customers entering businesses as a service for the business community.
Yeah, I think that's a very good idea. I think that taking of temperatures, even if it works or doesn't work effectively, it looks good, and I'm sure it does work to some. At least it's something we're doing in a positive way, and I think that's a good way of doing that. Obviously, I don't know whether the individual restaurants will want that, or whether as a council we could put out volunteers to get a list of volunteers who could go to these restaurants to do that. Now, obviously, we've got to get a hold of these temperature gauge things, which I've asked council staff about, but they're obviously around somewhere. So I think that's a pretty good idea, Barry.
That's all right. You can have that one for nothing.
Yeah, that's all right. The other thing I just wanted to mention is Parramatta Riverside Theatre. Parramatta Riverside Theatre, I'm on the board at the Riverside Theatre, and it has been obviously closed down in the last couple of months, but with the board is thinking very positively about there, that can become something very useful to us, that we're thinking about the possibility of converting one of the theatres down there to a studio where we can actually do some sort of entertainment in a whole range of ways, or send out signals, send out messages through that studio, and maybe get, for example, a comedian in who could do the show. People could pay online and get access to that, so that rather than the theatre actually closing down, we could actually expand it a bit in a big way. And we see that if that was an online payment system through the PAL or whatever system they want to pay, we would be going out to not only Parramatta residents, but we're going out to people throughout New South Wales and also throughout the whole of Australia, because obviously we're streaming out that far. A lot of our shows that were there through the theatre would become income producing for the theatre. So I think that's the sort of way that we can adapt and move forward, hopefully.
Well, Bob, it's Barry again. I actually on Sunday I listened to a play where there was 4 people in the play, and it was broadcast, 2 people from the United States, 2 from Australia, and one of them was Alex Boardman, the actor, and it was a cost of, anyone could put whatever cost they want. They could have a free ticket, or they just pay $5 or $10 or whatever. And last count I saw, there was 10,000 people watching it.
Yeah, and I think that's fantastic, isn't it? Like even at $5, you've got 10,000 people around, you've got $50,000 income coming into the theatre. Yes, we have to pay the artist, but he's got to get a job somehow. I just think maybe at the end of all this, this would be the way forward, that we could actually be running a live show in the main theatre, and we could be running an online streaming system in one of our other small theatres. So, there might be some good news coming out of this. Not all bad news,
Yeah, no, certainly. Does anyone else have a question for the Lord Mayor?
I've got a second one here, Bob. I got disconnected there for a while, so
that was lucky.
I'm just interested. I'm just interested in getting a comment as to the conduct of the meetings that you're having. Remember, we're working on changing that venue, and unfortunately, it didn't quite come off. Council's work has to continue, and it needs the direction of the council itself, the chamber. How are you actually managing that process going forward, Bob?
Yeah, well, as the people I know, we don't have a council chamber, and we currently run our meetings from St Patrick's Hall at the church up there. But anyway, that's we can't do that either. So now we're converting that obviously to online system, whereby similar to what we're doing today, that's how we run our council meeting. I have to go to the building with the CEO, and all the other 14 councillors are online like you are now, and we run the council meeting exactly like this. We had our first meeting about a week ago. Yes, there's some challenges to start with, but basically it went all right. So, you know, we just have to keep moving in that direction to keep council moving, but not too bad as a starting point anyway.
Yeah, okay. No, it's interesting. Yeah. Thanks.
So, John, did you dob me in for this in the first place, John?
Sorry?
Did you dob me in for this in the first place? It could only be you that could have dobbed me in this place.
Well, I thought, somebody commented about training wheels, and I thought this would give you a good opportunity to brush up your public speaking skills, Bob.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, they dobbed me in for ABC Radio for the other day. That was
You're going back. For an old Marx Brothers boy, you're doing very well.
Yeah, well, you're much older than me. You're guiding me.
Thank you.
Well, Lord Mayor, I don't think there's any other questions to do, and I do thank you for coming along today. It's been quite a welcome speech by yourself in giving us some insight into the government, into the city's council's operations and how they're coping with this. I think they are doing a tremendous job under these circumstances. It is trying for everyone. But at least you're looking to the future. I'm sure there is light at the tunnel, and I don't think we'll be facing this much longer, as long as we can get some vaccines going. I think this place will be up and running within a short distance, I hope. But thank you again for coming along today, Bob, and we do appreciate it. And I'll close the meeting, and I'll say thank you to everyone else for coming along today. It's been a great pleasure having us. Next week we have Julie Owens coming along, so she'll be able to give us an idea from a federal level of where we are, not only in Parramatta but also around Australia. Looking forward to seeing everyone next week.
Can I just say, Barry, thanks very much to Rotary. You do a fantastic job. The Rotary things do. Thank you. Thanks again to everybody who goes along to Rotary and participates. So thank you.
Not a problem at all.
Thank you very much. All the best to everybody.
Thank you, Bob.
Yes.
Thank you.
Bye.